Jar of ounce of weed there, $5 to get in on that. Probably the odds are pretty good. And they're drawing. Oh, they're drawing now. So never mind, you missed it. You want to do that, Landlord? Another one at 8 o'clock. I don't guarantee there will be a sound system.
Okay. Want me to say your name? Penny Cook.
Penny Cook.
Penny Cook.
Penny Cook. There she is right there. We have a winner. Woo!
Contestant on the
All
button
right.
right.
And anybody close to Dana is also a winner right
Penny
now.
Cook, come to the front, please, Penny. Come
Awesome.
here, Penny. I'm going to smoke your weed if you don't come here. Ha.
We're getting pretty close to the 420 experience. In the meantime, we're going to have a little bit of guitar playing, and then we'll do our anthem, and we'll all smoke weed. Good afternoon, Thornton Park. How you doing? All right, on behalf of Cannabis, I'd like to thank all the people who showed up today, all the booths. Thank you guys for your support, and I hope you have an awesome day. And thank you to Neil, and thank you to Steve, Landlord. Yeah, thanks, Glenn. Thanks for being a sponsor here and making this happen, because that's a cool thing that we're doing here, and I'm sure you're all having fun. CSP is also a sponsor, although they don't put any cash in. But you know, we help with this event. We're sponsoring. I'm doing my work for free here. So CSP is on there. But we got a whole bunch of other people here that have been providing cannabis today. I want to give them all a little shout out because they're the important ones. That's what really makes these events work, is we get a bunch of vendors together that are willing to break the law and sell people cannabis. So a shout out to Makash Maganji with the devil hash over here. If you've had anything just behind this great big tree here from me, there's been his hash has been burning all day here. That's awesome. Top Shelf Spicoli, he's over there, got a lot of products going on. He's right beside Glenn from Canamatch.ca, who Little Organics is here. Cassie's here with some of her art. Mad Hatter's here with his gummies and edibles. Hi Guys is in the house. Wayne's got his table right over there. The Legalized Farmers Markets has all these great clones and plants that you can get over there, and then they're auto-flowering, by the way, some of them, so you can, they will flower when they're ready to, no matter what time of year it is, doesn't matter about light, so you can still buy a couple of their plants, and sometime in October, you'll have some nice buds out of that. So you can get those there. 420 Allies Market over here, 420 Allies. Spoiled Rotten in the house. Steve, this guy right here, has been feeding people Smokies all day. Ted Scully's over there at the cannabis substitution table. John Murray's in the house, the maker of muffins and now chocolate chip cookies. I don't know how we're going to work that one in, because he's just been known as the Muffin Man for a while, supplying the cannabis substitution program with thousands and thousands of muffins for a long time. And prior to that, for the CSP, he was doing hot food while we were at Van Du out in the cold there. So good to see John here. Blaine and Joyce, right over there, the table over underneath the big tree. They're in a good spot with shade right now. Ignite Life is here. Brianna got her gray tent over there. Lady Marijuana right beside her with Brian there. Just Blaze It. He's here all the time. I don't even know if he knows there's an event going on. He's just here all the time selling weed to people set up in the park. Good on him. Somebody's got to do that. I love that kind of activism. Just Blaze It is here. And of course, Miss Medible, she's got a tent over there, always helping people get hooked up with medicine. She's been doing that for a long time. She certainly does the best that she can. So anyway, thank you all for coming. We're getting not too far from the 420 experience. In the meantime, here's the Landlord going to introduce our next speaker.
Good afternoon, Thornton Park. Hello? Is this thing working? Hello? Wake up over there. Hello? It's a pleasure to be here. Keep getting medicated. Our next guest, I take my hat off for him. He's a good guy. He's been an activist for many, many years. Dana Larson.
I remember back when we were getting this movement going in the late 80s and 90s, there was a lot of talk about hemp and how hemp can save the planet and all the wonders of that. And you know, we still got to make sure we get hemp in there, you know. They're growing a lot more hemp in Canada than they used to, but the rules and regulations around hemp and around using this wonderful plant to its full capability are still a long way off, a long way off. The only cannabis you can buy in a government shop is recreational cannabis. And although it's all the same thing, of course, recreational and medicinal cannabis, it's all the same plant and the same thing, but they're not allowed to talk about medicinal value in these shops. They're not allowed to discuss or advise you on how best to use cannabis for your medicinal needs or health benefits. It's a very bizarre situation we've got here. You know, we talk a lot about harm reduction, and I'm all for that, but the other side of harm reduction is benefit maximization. People use these substances for a reason. They have benefits. They're not simply harmful things that we want to minimize. Everything can be harmful, but all these drugs also have benefits. That's why we use them, for the benefits. And so a proper policy would seek to minimize harms and risks and also to maximize the benefits involved from using these things, making sure people are getting what they're looking for. So I'm calling for a whole change in our drug policy across Canada and around the world. And I think that here in Vancouver, right here, right now, we are perfectly positioned to lead the world in this movement. You know, Vancouver had a massive influence around the world in terms of changing the cannabis laws. Our dispensary movement that began here with medicinal cannabis shops and then more open cannabis shops opening up, it birthed a thing all across Canada where there was hundreds and hundreds of shops operating, many of them still in business operating outside the legal system. And we didn't get to legalization without what happened in Vancouver. It took, you know, I remember getting into this in the late 80s and early 90s. You couldn't buy a bong in Vancouver. High Times magazine was banned. Cheech and Chong movies wouldn't be shown in theaters. It was a very strict time against cannabis. And now we've got a situation where cannabis is legalized, where large events and small events that promote and allow cannabis to be sold have no problems. I don't see a single police officer here at all. I don't see anybody too concerned about anything, as it should be. But let's go beyond that. We're also a city that is being devastated by the war on drugs, from petty crime, homelessness, and a massive overdose death crisis, which is killing so many people, and so many of our friends are being lost. And that is also why we need to end this war on drugs, this war on people that use drugs. And so we need a safe supply of everything. And cannabis can help many people, as the Substitution Project is showing. Many people that are using opiates can use less opiates or reduce entirely if they have access, especially to high-potency edibles. But that is not the only solution. As much as I love cannabis, it is not the solution. It is not the right thing for everybody. And we also need safe supplies of psychedelics. We need safe supplies of all these plant medicines. We need to get back to these things being used in a culturally relevant, more natural form, having societal norms that these things can be beneficial and that we should treat them with respect and used properly. They are wonderful allies to human beings and can provide us with a lot of benefits. And so I guess my message here today is just to remember that as much as we love cannabis, as much as we know that cannabis is really the world's greatest plant, and as much as it has helped us all, it's not just about cannabis. It's about liberty and freedom. It's about medicine, plant medicine. It's about treating these plants and the cultures that use them with respect, and about reintegrating them back into our society in a better way. So please do that. Not everybody can do everything, but everybody can do something, right? So it may just be a difficult conversation once in a while. It may be a little thing here or there, but find what you can do, make it happen. Let's end this goddamn war that's been going on for 100 years or more. Thank you very much for being here on BC Bud Day, and long live cannabis.
The price of cannabis at $4,480 a pound, based on $10 a gram. Couldn't be more ludicrous. Couldn't be more unreasonable. There is no reason for it. None. Zero. Not because it's dangerous. Not because we have to keep it away from the kids. Not because it costs so much to produce it, although it can cost lots to produce cannabis. If you're growing indoors and you're paying for hydro, that's a big bill. If you're a connoisseur of growing cannabis and you have all the fans and dehumidifiers and air conditioners and all the fancy equipment, the lights and everything else, that can be fairly expensive. But it doesn't have to be. There is no reason that we can't just go to some farm or some store and buy a bushel of cannabis stock with a bunch of buds on it for 10 bucks a pound. No reason we can't do that at all. In fact, if you left it up to farmers to bring it to market at prices they felt were reasonable, it would be that or even less, because actually cannabis grows more biomass per cubic meter of soil than any other plant that a farmer wants to grow. If you're lucky enough, and if you have enough money, you can be one of the government suppliers, a legal producer of cannabis. But those are few and far between. And it's the big boys that are taking over all those licenses, the shoppers, the corporations that have millions and millions of dollars. They're taking all those licenses. They'll eventually have them all, I'm sure. So the government needs to get out of the way. They need to, if they can't help us get access to cannabis, they at least need to get the hell out of the way. But in the meantime, we're going to keep protesting until we get it right. And with wise red eyes, we criticize the war against our family. Oh, cannabis. Obviously, their drug war's a bust. Oh, cannabis, we stand here high and proud for thee. Oh, cannabis, the sacred plant. If they hadn't made weed illegal, we wouldn't be out here with leaf blowers smoking up the whole area. Smoke if you got 'em.